With the Pixel 7 recently releasing, the old Pixel phones went down a lot in value. For a bit over $100, the Pixel 4 might be the best budget Android phone for 2023. The Pixel 4 got updates until recently, as in October 2022, it got what seems to be its last Android security patch. It runs Android 13, which is 3 versions newer than Android 10, which is what it originally shipped with when it came out. Personally, I think Android 12 and Android 13 look pretty bad with the new notification slider interface. This was the first Pixel phone to add a second camera, but instead of a wide-angle lens, Google added a telephoto zoom lens. The cameras still hold up pretty well today, with one drawback being that it is capped to 4K at 30 frames per second. This makes no sense, as iPhones have been able to do 4K at 60 frames per second since 2017, and I believe Samsung's had it since 2018 on the S9. The camera kept force closing whenever I tried switching the aspect ratio to 16:9, and eventually I couldn't even open the camera app at all, even after restarting the phone. The rear camera isn't broken though, as it still works on third-party apps such as Instagram. One of the issues that my particular phone has is the face recognition not working. It worked when I got the phone a few weeks ago, but then it stopped working overnight the night that I got the phone. I also noticed that the front camera is in black and white on the third-party camera apps, but I can't really test the Google camera app because it won't launch. It makes no sense at all to me, to be honest. When the phone came out in 2019, a lot of people said the facial recognition software was slower and less convenient than the fingerprint reader that previous and future Pixel phones used, as this was the only Pixel phone to introduce and use this facial recognition software. And then in 2020, when mask mandates started becoming common, the face unlock didn't work at all if you were using a mask, so it was kind of a useless feature that did not stand the test of time at all. The battery life on this phone lasts a long time. I haven't been able to drain this phone with some pretty light to moderate use, but this phone hasn't been my main since I got it. I had to replace the battery and back glass on this phone when I initially got it due to the previous battery expanding completely and destroying the back glass. The charge speed on this phone is about normal. It's rated for 18 watts of charging speed. The battery's 2800 milliamp hours, which is about the same as an iPhone 11 Pro, released around the same time also. I'm surprised the battery life lasts so long on this phone, since it's so compact and thin. The performance on this phone is still pretty decent. Of course, there is some slowdown from software updates, but it loads everything pretty quickly, and I haven't had any issues with performance yet. It has 6GB of RAM, which is the same as the iPhone 14 Pro, and it has the Snapdragon 855, which was released back in late 2018 and was also used in the Samsung Galaxy S10. The processor, however, is much worse than an iPhone 14 Pro. The display on this phone is actually really nice. Colors are pretty accurate, and the overall size and aspect ratio is pretty good. The Pixel 4 XL also exists, which is a larger version of this phone, but I don't have that one. The top bezel on this phone is pretty large due to the face recognition hardware, and the bottom bezel is pretty small. The Pixel 4a, which was released back in 2020 as a cheaper alternative, actually has much smaller bezels than the Pixel 4. The phone comes in 3 colors, black, white, and orange. The orange and white model actually has a matte textured back glass, while the black model I have here has a glossy finish. The phone comes in 64 or 128GB of storage, but unfortunately there was no 256 or higher gigabyte models like the iPhone 11 Pro had. The sides of this phone are coated in plastic, and for whatever reason the phone I have is torn up on the sides, with the entire plastic being worn down and the metal showing underneath. I haven't seen this issue on any other Pixel 4s online, so I wouldn't be scared of this happening. The only reason I can assume this happened was probably due to somebody not cleaning out a phone case or something like that, as there's also some pretty weird case marks on the phone too. The Pixel 4 can sell anywhere from $100 to $150 on the used market, and if you want to buy a brand new in-box model, it goes for around $200 to $230. I can recommend this phone heavily over something like an iPhone XS, as this is one of the only used Android phones I think makes sense to buy at its current price point. It's better than something like a similarly priced Galaxy A13, and it's a nicer phone in general, with a better build quality, better display, and likely much better cameras. So thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Goodbye.